Jim, business has changed a lot since I first started in the corporate world. Wall Street has changed. There used to be, I would call, a contract between corporate America and its employees, and things have changed. Where do you see the corporation's ethics and relationships to society?
So the first piece is that because we've become a global world from a business perspective, we're not a regional, local, national, we're global. That changes a lot of things, particularly on the ethics side, because the ethics that are practiced in other countries are very different than what we have here. That forces the multinationals to think about how they deal with governments, other stakeholders in other countries. And that causes them to have to make decisions amongst themselves as to how they would operate in a place very different than the United States. The ethics issue at a corporate level doesn't necessarily take place at the operating companies, at the corporate environment, the NYSE traded companies. A lot of the ethical things that we've seen happen take place with the service providers, i.e. the investment bankers, the people trying to make the deals, those are in between. The corporations, and particularly the management of the corporations, are screwed down so tightly they can't get out of the system. Otherwise, they will be punished quickly, and they know that. And with CEOs having to sign off on financial statements, etc., you will find very rare times when a corporate CEO of a New York Stock Exchange traded company is in trouble like they were in years gone by.
How do you train or educate the students and graduate students about these broad political and public policy issues that oftentimes drive a business and industry?
Yeah. So the first thing you do is you want to expose them to other cultures. Not by talking about it in a classroom, but by actually sending them to those countries. So you need to send them somewhere where they get a chance to break down what a culture is like, how it operates, to see if they can determine what the differences are, to understand how regulations and policies impact manufacturing, distribution, and retailing in particular industries, how the financial markets work. So once they've been able to determine a breakdown of one culture, they can really look at a lot of cultures.
Where do you see that issue today in America, this concept of we are in a global economy, and yet there's a sense of isolationist and protectionists that want to go back to where we were 30 or 40 years ago?
When we were the preeminent business environment in the world, that was one thing. We are not anymore. We are not the low-cost manufacturer. We are not in the supply chain, someone who's early on or later down the supply chain. So it's changed dramatically. And as a result, labor has gotten inexpensive because countries have opened up their doors for American manufacturers to make things in their country. The protectionist issue caused Japan to go down a path that I think they would have preferred to change were they to look back at that and not let people in to give them a better product at a better price. I think that we have to determine in our economy in the United States, we're a knowledge-based economy, we're an innovation-based economy. We've got to continue that lead. If we lose that, then we've lost a lot of things. As far as the job protection is concerned, the job protection in so many different ways in this country is done at the lower level unskilled jobs. There's lots of openings for skilled workers. They're needed in those knowledge-based industries. And so therefore, it's just gone through a change. It's been a metamorphosis of companies looking for labor, which has caused us to have to change how we train our kids and how we educate them and what we cause them to think about. I mean, it's more important for a company to take one of our students who can critically think about a problem rather than somebody who has memorized and learned by rote like an assembly line. And so it's a complete different change. And I think that to protect the jobs of those who are unskilled really begs the question about educating those people first, to have them prepared for what jobs are open. And there are a lot of jobs going unfilled for educated people. It's the uneducated, unskilled jobs that are not available like they were because those have moved offshore.
And one of the things that USC is known for is the entrepreneurial spirit. It's a private university in our issue, and I believe there's a great comparison to UCLA. One is, in my opinion, rote learning, and one is entrepreneurial, and there's a spirit. But as the dean, how do you instill that throughout the entire Marshall School of Business?
We start with yes. We may get to no, but we start with yes. So when someone champions an idea or brings forth a thought of something that can be improved, something that can be done differently, we embrace that. And we say, let's look at this and let's go down that path. We may get to the end of the path and say, financially it won't work, we won't find enough students that will want to be involved in that particular program, et cetera, et cetera. There may be lots of reasons why it won't work, but we don't start with that. We start with saying, how can we make this happen if it is indeed to the benefit of our students and the general population, the world? Will it help change the world? And I think that if you have that attitude, anybody who walks in my office with an idea, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to say, let's work through this and see if it's indeed feasible. But I think the key is be open-minded and to be thinking about the little niches within the education world, within the business world, where you can satisfy some of those demands that maybe aren't otherwise being satisfied. It's interesting when you look at certain parts of Southern California, how strong education is. I mean, if you look at Pasadena and those schools that are there, and we all try and work together as much as we can on different opportunities, because there shouldn't be a silo. That student should be exposed to the best of the best. And so we all like working together. It's kind of an interesting differential that I found between the corporate environment and the academic environment. In the academic environment, people like to work together and collaborate. In the corporate environment, we're at war.
It's competition.
We're at war. And it's not that way in the academic environment, which is very healthy and it works. It's great.